Okay, so welcome to our podcast. This is a little bit different today because this podcast is a spin-off of our radio show. So, tell me about Hawaii.
Oh, it's beautiful, man. I love it. We live on a super small island called Molokai. There's 7,000 people, 85,000 deer. So big deer hunting island.
Wow.
Almost everybody hunts. Yeah, it's great. Living in nature, I love it. It was a big move from suburban Illinois, like 45 minutes away from Chicago, just west. And I moved there when I was 14. And, you know, being a young teenage boy is hard for anybody. But it's if you move away from all your friends, and it sounds like I'm complaining about moving to Hawaii right now, which I understand, which is ridiculous. But yeah, it was a crash landing, but we got there in the end. For sure.
Do you know all the islands? Have you visited all the islands?
No, actually, I've only visited like 4 of them. One of them you can't go to because it's like a forest preserve. The other one I think is like locals only. You need to be invited. But I've only been to 3 or 4.
Have you been to Oahu?
Yeah.
Where Honolulu is? Mm-hmm. So my son lives in Honolulu. He's the same age as you. And I feel that island has it all.
Yeah, I would agree.
You can, and Joe, you've been to Honolulu?
No, I have not. I've only been to the Big Island. I've been to Maui. I've been to Kauai.
Let me sell Oahu real quick.
Okay.
There's a street, Waikiki Beach, that has everything. It's like being in New Orleans. It's like being in Vegas. It's one street, 1 mile of everything. The streets are always packed. There's the Versace stores, the Balenciaga stores, the Rolex stores, every store, and they're 3-4 stories high. It's crazy. Then you drive 20 minutes away, and you're in the middle of nowhere. It's like being in Maui. You feel like you just discovered an island. And I fell in love with that because my son goes, Hawaii Pacific University, plays basketball there, so I spent a lot of time there. We used to always go to Maui all the time, always go to Maui. My wife loves Maui. I'm like, we got it all here too. I love Hawaii.
Yeah,
how long have you been in Arizona?
So we don't live here. We just come out here for the Genius Network event every so often. We tend to stay a little bit longer so we can get some interviews done at this great facility. We've been here for like a week, maybe a little bit less, 5 days.
And who have you been interviewing?
We interviewed Barry Garapedian, who's a part of Genius Network. He's the man, financial advisor, now turned to basically advising the kids of the people that he advises. He's a super, super badass guy. We are going to interview Mrs. Pardis. I'm not even going to try to say her last name.
Oh, I know her.
But she's great.
She's amazing. She's a
Madavi?
professor. Yeah, yeah. I spent some time.
Is it Madavi?
Yeah. How did I think something like that? And it's funny because she's a dear friend, and I never say her last name.
She is
because of that
fascinating.
exact reason.
She is fascinating.
Very smart.
Professor, kidnapped. Do you know that story?
Yeah.
She's unbelievable. I'm supposed to interview her too, but she's incredible.
Written 10 books, PhD, the whole works.
Yeah. You're so young. Like, what's your story? How did you join the Genius Network?
So my dad and Joe were buddies for a long, long time. They were introduced through Nathaniel Brandon, who was the father of Self-Esteem is basically his nickname. And my dad had a nervous breakdown like about 30-ish years ago. His dad got him a Tony Robbins cassette.
No way.
And then he just went super, super deep down the rabbit hole of personal development stuff. Ended up reading Nathaniel Brandon's book. I think it wasn't Taking Responsibility. Maybe it was The 6 Pillars of Self-Esteem, or one of the early ones. And Nathaniel's phone number was in the back, and he said, "Hey, Missy, who's my mom, you should call that guy and see if I can get on the phone with him." Got on the phone, and then that sprouted into an amazing relationship. My dad got introduced to Joe, our very close family friend, Pat Gentempo, and Dr. Joel Wade, who is an amazing doctor, or psychiatrist, psychologist.
I honestly don't know.
He's amazing, but regardless, got introduced to basically his lifelong buddies. He ended up joining Genius Network a while ago, probably like 10-ish years ago by now, and he got so much out of it. And then last year, he said, "Hey man, I'm not going to send you to college. You're not a college guy. I've never really agreed with the education system, I suppose." And he said, "I can send you to Genius Network. It's going to be about the same price, if not a little cheaper. It's, at the time we thought it was $25,000, but actually it's $35,000 a year for anyone who's interested." And I said, "Absolutely, let's do it." And it's been amazing. Almost everybody that I've interviewed on the podcast has been from Genius Network.
How long have you been a part of Genius Network?
A year in like 2 weeks. A year since October.
You know what? I don't want to sound all weird, but you're like a really handsome guy.
Stop
And
it,
no,
dude.
you're
making me
you really
blush.
handle
Stop.
like you don't. How old are you? You're
21.
Yeah, you seem like wiser, and you really handle yourself. But you're also married. That's really young to be married. What's the story with your marriage?
So I when I was 17, I always talk to my dad. We're both big history buffs, and he loves to remind me that behind every really big sort of historical figure that's a man, there's a even better woman or something along those lines. And when I was 17, I decided that I was going to get married as soon as possible. Not like the first person that I meet I'm going to get married to, but I will become a better person if I am married, is sort of the deal. And I met my wife when I was 19 and she was 18. We got introduced to through some friends in Chicago. And then 2 months later, we ended up getting married.
And she moved to Hawaii.
Yes, absolutely.
And your parents are behind you getting married all the way.
So here's the thing. We met, and then I was like, I think a week or two into meeting her, I was like, we should go get married. Before I even asked her to be my girlfriend. I was like, we should go get married. Didn't realize that you need to do paperwork and all this kind of stuff. And then I took her out to Hawaii. She met my parents. My parents absolutely loved her. And then we eloped, so we didn't tell them. Had dinner with my parents later that night, and they saw her ring, I think. And my mom was like, is that ring on the right finger? And she was like, yeah, it is. And they were very, very happy. We didn't tell them, but they're incredibly pleased.
So what do you do for a living to support your new family?
So we're about to come out with our personal development software called Lumen in November, and it's basically taking my dad's personal development program that he created through that nervous breakdown, the generalized anxiety disorder that he got called agoraphobia. He would carry around this book.
Agoraphobia, isn't that's where you're afraid to leave the house?
Yes, yeah. So he couldn't leave the house unless he was carrying around this book of basically personal development strategies, beliefs, all this kind of stuff. He ended up categorizing this book called his Lifebook, and then all of a sudden he's just like running his life by the book, so to speak. And then a few years later, he looks around and he's like, holy shit, this is my dream life. This is what I wrote down in this book. This is crazy. A few of his friends come over and they're like, hey, teach me how to do this. I want to get my life super, super categorized, super clear on my vision like you did. They did a few marker board sessions. And I think you were one of the first people to go through.
Well,
Lifebook.
yeah, and I'll tell you this, because this will be hard. I have spent over $2 million on my business education, more seminars, tons of stuff, recovery work, consultants, Lifebook. The very first one he ever went through his own program after they turned it into a Lifebook lounge in Chicago and had all the software and everything. And you literally write a book about your life in 4 days and leave with a beautiful book. It's like insane. And the funny thing is he was never a marketer. He just figured out and built a very successable life. I mean, their family is, built a multi-billion-dollar company. That being said, though, what I love about Justin is he's not spoiled. I mean, there's a lot of young people that are born on third base and think they hit a triple.
Right. No, you can see that. That's what.
And so, very much immersed in, challenges and success and stuff like that. And I've known him since he was a kid. So, there's truly the personal development stuff they have is at a whole nother level of depth. It's not just people selling a ticket on the good ship Hope. I mean, it's really deep work.
But was your father's business already successful before he had the nervous breakdown, or did that happen
So
after?
I'll frame it up. He didn't. He was a serial entrepreneur for the first few years of his life. His dad my grandpa made Precious Moments. Are you familiar with the little porcelain figurines?
Yeah.
Your mom probably has a million of them.
Yeah. Are those? They're not airports, right? Are they? They're in the malls. I've seen it. I know it.
Yeah.
They're
There's
really
knockoff versions of it, but
my God,
Hallmark
there's so
Precious
sold
Moments. I know that name.
Yeah, they got the little teardrop eyes. They're little cute,
That's
mostly
your
like
grandpa.
biblical stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
So he was a starving artist. He made a bunch of postcards, birthday cards, stuff like that. And my dad was about my age when he was like, hey, man, let's turn this into a business. Let's see if we can find a licensing partner to make something big out of this. They found a Nesco, started making figurines. And then that blossomed into I think, over its entire lifetime, $8 to $10 billion business empire. of which we got a small royalty, which was more than enough to keep our family going. And so he came from, rough, compared to what I grew up with, pretty rough stuff. And that's sort of how he got to his nervous breakdown, just because he was 30-something. I think he was 32, 33. And he had made all this money, but he didn't really know how to create something of value. He was selling bits and bobs and little figurines and stuff, and he was a serial entrepreneur. He made a wallpaper company. He made a athletic wear company for racquetball and stuff like that. And then he has this nervous breakdown, and the solution that he made for himself, he ended up turning into a company called Lifebook, which his first idea was, we're going to buy a nightclub venue in downtown Chicago and turn it into a personal development lounge where people come to better themselves instead of inebriate themselves and, try to hook up with ladies or whatever. Of course, that didn't work out very well. It was a beautiful experience, but we didn't make a lot of money on it.
Yeah, it was amazing, but
it wasn't profitable at all. And then he ended up meeting Vishen Lakhiani of Mind Valley, and Vishen said, hey man, we should, instead of doing this super bespoke, you land in O'Hare, you take a limo to the lounge and all this stuff, we should turn this into a $500 course that I can sell online, because I know how to sell this stuff. And like Joe said, he's never been a marketer, not super great at sales, but he knows how to make products and experiences. So all that to say, what I do now is basically there's 12 categories of life in Lifebook that he's found, and everybody sort of has different ones, but more or less they're the same. Health and fitness, intellectual, emotional, character, parenting if you're a parent, love if you have a love relationship, career, financial, quality of life, and a few others. And we ask 4 questions in each category. 1, what are the beliefs that sort of dictate your behaviors in this category? What do you believe about this? What are your foundational beliefs? What do you want out of this category? What's your vision in your health and fitness? Why do you want that, and what are you willing to do to get it? And what we realized about a year and a half ago was this sort of data that we now have on people doesn't exist before they go through the Lifebook program. As soon as you are at the end of that, you have your foundational beliefs in every category of your life, which is your life philosophy. It's what you believe about life. You have your vision in every category of life, which is your life vision. That is your dream life. It's a vivid picture of your dream life. You have your purpose, which is literally your purpose of living. If you put all of this into AI, it can create you a stellar roadmap from where you are now to where you want to be, break all of your goals down into milestones, break all of those down into habits. And we're calling it soul level data, just because it doesn't exist before you go through this program. And once you have it, you can conquer the world.
I can see the seeds of Tony Robbins in this a little bit, right? Yeah, that's great. Does the brick and mortar building still exist?
It does, but we're not in it.
Not in it.
I think he got out of it in like 2014 maybe.
But you go to lifebook.com?
MyLifebook.com.
MyLifebook.
Yeah.
The Lumen thing, isn't that the name of the company in
So we spell
Severance.
ours differently.
Severance,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Lumen.
It's Lumen Corp, and that was when we were doing our branding session. One of our partners said that, and we were all like, ugh. I think we'll be fine, though. I think we'll be fine. It's the way that we sort of justified it was a lumen is the measure of light, and it's sort of shining your inner light out into the world and making a reality that is built upon your values and your vision.
Do you have brothers and sisters?
I have 1 brother, 2 sisters, and
Younger,
I'm the youngest.
older? You're the youngest. Mm. What are your older siblings doing?
So my oldest sibling is living on the Big Island, and she is amazing homesteader. She's living with her husband, 2 kids, and excuse me, they've made a homeschooling program because that's their thing. They love doing the whole homeschool, super like, I don't know what you would call this, but she's sort of an alchemist. The way that she makes all of her like sort of herbal balms and this kind of stuff. They're super dialed in on their health and fitness and things like this. My older brother is he has the #1 cannabis growing podcast in the world called Growcast. He's the way that my dad describes it is that he's always been sort of like a highway bandit. He first got into, he made rap music when he was in his teenage years. He then moved to California to, go to the green rush because everybody was growing pot out in California. And then he got into professional poker playing. So he's very, very uniquely qualified in rap music, pot growing, and poker playing, which is pretty interesting. And then he combined his sound engineering with his pot growing ability, and then made Growcast, which is his podcast.
That's a great name.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Doing well?
Yeah, it's number one not personal development, number one cannabis growing podcast in the world.
But does he
teaches
smoke
people.
weed while he's doing the podcast?
Oh, of course.
Wow.
Yeah, and then my older sister is my second older sister. She is a fantastic artist because I come from a family of artists, and she makes art out of trash. She had her first art show when she was 11 in downtown Chicago in a beautiful gallery, and that's what she's doing.
And that nobody's running the business got sold, the precious moments, or somebody in the family still running it?
It's the wheels are falling off that bus slowly, and we're trying to figure out something. But I'm thinking that me and my dad are going to take more of a leadership role because he had 7 siblings, and his brother, and his sister were kind of running it, and he was sort of in the background. But we may take more of a leadership role.
You know, Joe, you and I were talking earlier about the way we grew up, right? And like I always feel, you know, I'm in this radio career where I speak to people, and I don't think I have a flow. I don't know how to talk to people. And you were bringing up the way you brought up, and now you're speaking everywhere. But with him, this kid's got it. Do you know what I'm talking about? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like you can, like.
If he doesn't screw up too bad, he'll make something.
You got a big future the way you handle yourself.
You,
yeah, man. That. I mean, holy smokes.
Yeah.
Like I can't even say that in nice sentences. By the way, there's a book. You guys have brought a lot of books, and I was telling you I've been reading the same 5 books for years. One of those 5 books I've read many times, and I think it is just a legendary, phenomenal book. Because when you brought up reading books from the 1900s, I also was doing that back in the day. And there's one book, and I haven't heard anyone bring it up yet. And if you haven't read it, I suggest you go out and get. I think it is phenomenal. It's The Magic of Thinking Big.
Yeah, I read it years ago.
David Schwartz. I think it's fantastic. Yeah. And of course, the Norman Vincent Peale books and all that stuff. But The Magic of Thinking Big, I think, is just a legendary book, man. Well, congratulations to you, man.
Thank you, sir.
So you come into town to Phoenix for a week. You do a bunch of podcasts. You go to a Genius Network meeting. And you pull out.
The Genius Youth ones. So we started Genius Youth. So
what are the rules of Genius Youth?
It's helping young people get exposed to stuff that they're not going to learn in college, such as, you know, building real self-esteem, how learning skills. Like the first meeting we had, Robert Cialdini talked to them about influence. We then took them to a bank, Zenith Bank, and one of my friends is the co-founder of that bank. And the CEO taught him about money and finance. Then Mark Tarbell, the chef here locally, who's one of my Genius Network members, he did a pizza making contest, taught him how to cook, hospitality. And then we had a guy named Michael Raviero from Optimize that did a Wim Hof breath class, gave him a tour of their facility where they do cold plunges and saunas and stuff. And then
they're on Indian School. Right.
Well, they have 4 locations.
Oh, do
now.
they?
4, yeah.
You know Jesse?
Yeah, I know both of them quite well.
He's come to my house, used my cold plunge before he opened up that place.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, he's great.
Those guys are awesome.
Yeah.
And so we took everyone through a cold plunge, and every single kid at the time, I think we had 47 at that first meeting, and and so
47 kids that are part of this program?
Yeah, we actually have a waiting list for more.
Is it all year long? You got stuff all year, or is it like you're here for 2 weeks?
Week and a half. Yeah.
Are you coming back in another month or two? Like how often?
For October, because I'm giving a 10-minute talk, which is another very interesting thing about Genius Network is that the members are allowed to give talks about what they're uniquely qualified to talk about.
Fascinating.
Yeah, it's great.
Fascinating.
Yep.
You know, my wife and I have a dog rescue.
Do you?
If you ever want to tie that into your Genius Network and giving. Have people come to our dog rescue.
That would be a really good idea.
They can go walk the dogs.
It's Pup Love, right? Is
Love Pup.
Love Pup. There you go.
Yeah. In fact, we got a huge event. November 11th, we bring in a couple bands, Gym Class Heroes, Fits and Tantrums, and we invite, the dog rescue business, if you want to call it, is very competitive, but we're not like that. We don't charge people to adopt dogs. Our dogs are free. We just fundraise. We had this event at Vertuccio Farms in Mesa, Chandler High Grad, and we invite every dog rescue in Arizona to showcase their dogs. And then we have these bands perform. It's free. We just ask people to bring a donation for the dogs. We had like 10,000 people last year. It's insane.
Wow.
That is, where do you do it at?
Vertuccio Farms. It's on Power Road.
Oh, okay, you do it at that.
Yeah,
okay.
It's in Mesa. I think it's more Gilbert, but it's Mesa.
Wow.
You ever heard of Vertuccio Farms?
It's I have, but
Kono
I know
and Rocco
nothing about
Vertuccio,
it.
Chandler High. They're twins.
Yeah, I know nothing about it.
It's a great place. But our rescue is on Thomas and 64th Street, close to Scottsdale Road.
Wow.
And we started rescuing dogs out of our house, and now we have a whole foundation, and we also help kids in foster care. But if there's ever anything you can tie in the Genius Network of
No, definitely it would be really good because it's about connection, and it's about. I think when you teach young people how to nurture empathy and how to really see an exposure to people that are going through difficult times and let them assist and help, could be animals, could be any situation, that molds them. And I think in a lot of ways, Justin's parents, Missy and John, they traveled a lot. I mean, you got to see, how many different countries you've been in?
52.
Wow, 52.
Man. So that's why you know the world. You're well spoken. Did you homeschool too?
Yeah, for probably half of my life I was homeschooled.
And you just can't fight against homeschooling, and the whole no college thing is big right now too, isn't it? Everyone's
It's becoming more that way. Yeah. What advice would you give to young people that you have learned through all this stuff that you think is like? What are the 3 insights that you've learned in the last year that you think are valuable?
There's this Hebrew word that I was taught by Jeffrey Perlman, the co-founder of Zumba, called Anava, which means humility coupled with audacity, which is super, super interesting. That really helped me a lot just because I've always been wary to speak about myself just because, the sin of pride and all that sort of jargon. But if you can exercise humility as well as exercising audacity, that's going to take you a lot of very, very far places, I guess. Another one is just absolute gratitude for whatever you have. We live in the number one best time ever in history to be alive, especially to be a younger person from the age of like 12 to 28 or whatever. You can basically do whatever you would like to do as long as you can put in the work and make it happen. Also talk to people. That's a big one that I learned from Genius Network was just...
That's big.
It doesn't matter.
Generation.
Dude, putting people on a pedestal is crazy. The first Genius Network event, the annual event that I was at, I saw Evan Carmichael, who I used to watch his stuff all the time. He does like profiles on personal development people on YouTube. He's got something 4.3 million subscribers or something. I put this guy on a super high pedestal. So I'm going to the bathroom. And I was like, I'm going to go talk to this guy. Well, actually, my wife was like, you should go talk to him. And I was like, no, he's so scary and a big guy. And then I went and talked to him, and I was like, hey, man.
Was he sitting in a stall?
No, I waited for him outside the bathroom. I tried to be polite.
Like, hey, man.
And I said, hey, dude, can I get like a minute? I just want some advice on my podcast. He ended up giving me 5 or 10 minutes, just giving me some really, really solid insights. And then I was like, hey, can I interview you? And he was like, for sure, let's do it. And I was like, oh my God, this is crazy.
And you did it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was my 5th ever interview. Was with Evan Carmichael, which is crazy, and it's all because of Joe.
So many things because of Joe Polish.
Yeah. I have a joke that's at the center of the universe is Joe. Literally everybody that I've interviewed on the podcast, excluding 2 people, has either was introduced to me directly by Joe or was introduced to me by somebody who was introduced to me by Joe.
So get this. I'm a big fan of stem cells, right? I go to Mexico, get these stem cells at this one clinic. And they're opening up one in Cabo. So I go to the grand opening. They asked me to host it, right? So like Gary Brecka, you know that guy?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There's a handful of people there. And I was going on that night, Thursday night I got there, and I was going to get my stem cells. I was going to do that, they give you an injection. And I walk in, and they bring me to this room. And in the room is another doctor, and he's getting the stem cells. And I recognize the doctor from Instagram because I'm kind of into the health. And I see the guy, and I go, oh, hey, man, on Instagram, Dr. Pampa. You know who Dr. Pampa is?
Yeah. I'm friends with
And he
son.
goes, you know Dr. Pampa?
Yeah.
He goes, you part of the Genius Network? And I'm like, what? He's like, you part of the Genius Network? And I was like, I have a little background in improv. I'm like, yeah. I didn't know. He goes, Joe Polish? Joe Polish? That's the first time I heard your name.
That's
like
hysterical.
That. And I was so they closed the door. I sit and I'm talking to him and his wife and the daughter, and they're all IV'd up, you know. And I was like, and I go, I'm sorry. I go, and they were like 100,000, whatever the numbers were. And I'm like, I'm not sure exactly what you're talking about. And since then, that's when I've been pulling back the layers and finding out all about you and your programs, and it's fascinating. You run one heck of a thing. You also have a lot of good people in your program. The people I've met are really solid people.
Yeah, it's transcended me. I mean, it's, you know, the best thing that I think is be a catalyst and then let other people see. I don't want to be what the saying is, I don't want to be a sage from the stage. I want to be a guide on the side. So I have clients in Genius Network that are way smarter. You know, people are like, are you a genius? I'm like, no, the only genius thing I've done is develop Genius Network and then bring the geniuses there.
And you're connecting people. Yeah. Connection, man.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you both, man. Thanks for coming on my podcast.
Of course, man, no problem.
Thank you, guys. Okay, so welcome to our podcast. This is a little bit different today because this podcast is a spin-off of our radio show.